Are you leaving thousands of dollars on the table? If you own a home that you live in, you could be missing out on a massive tax break, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. Hey, Peculiar fam.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
If you're new here, welcome to the channel. We're happy to have you. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button and following along with us on this journey.
So what we're talking about in today's video is a homestead exemption. Some of you have probably heard of a homestead exemption. Some of you may have not, but we're going to talk to you a little bit about that today. We're going to define what it is. We're going to tell you who can file, who may qualify, how you can file in your own county and state that you live in. And then we're going to give you also some things that you should avoid when thinking about filing or before you file. Let's get into the video.
Okay, so I initially thought that a homestead exemption has something to do with homesteading, like having being in a rural area or having a farm, planting crops or something like that, because it has the word homestead in it. But actually what homestead means is just your primary residence. And so that's what it means in real estate terms. So a homestead exemption has nothing to do with being in a rural area, farming or anything like that. You can be in a subdivision and file for a homestead exemption. So first off, that's a good thing to know, because if I thought it, that means somebody else probably has thought the same thing. So actually what a homestead exemption is a legal reduction in your home's taxable value.
Right. So basically it's allowed by the state law, where your home would be valued. Say you live in a home that's the value is $250,000. Well, if you were taxed based on that value, your property taxes would be through the roof. And some counties in our state are through the roof. And we'll get to that later. But the value that the state allows, or that the law allows, would be, say, 10% of the actual value of your home. And then you would be taxed based on that amount versus the actual value of your home. So that's something that a lot of people are missing out on. You don't want to be that person. If you've been that person, from today forward, you don't have to be that person anymore.
All right, y'all. So let's talk about the benefits of filing for a homestead exemption. So one benefit is that it lowers your tax bill, which means you get to keep more money in your pocket. That's enough right there. But it also helps protect you from unsecured creditors. Like if you have a credit card, or if you happen to file bankruptcy, they cannot seize your property in order to get payment. So that's helpful in those cases. Also, senior citizens, disabled, people who are disabled, and veterans can get additional benefits when filing for a homestead exemption. In some cases of filing for a homestead exemption, some people don't have to pay any property taxes, which is a huge benefit, to be able to go from paying thousands to nothing at all. So it's definitely worth it.
All right, so now since we've defined what a homestead exemption is and have given a few of the benefits, now let's talk about who can file. Because if there are benefits and you can't file, does you no good, right? Okay. All right, so who can actually file for a homestead exemption? If you are a senior citizen, that doesn't mean that you are irrelevant or that somebody should be pushing you aside because you're a little older and have a little more wisdom. That means you may have some enhanced benefits from filing for a homestead exemption. Please go file. So 65 and older, you can file for a homestead exemption. Now, next are primary homeowners. So if you own a home, I'm not talking about a vacation home. I'm not talking about a secondary home or a rental home. Your primary residence, then you can file on your primary residence. So those are two people. Next, if you are a veteran, if you have served in the military in any capacity, you could have enhanced benefits from filing for a homestead exemption. And then those who are surviving spouses, if you've lost your spouse. So if you're a widow or a widower, you could also possibly have enhanced benefits from filing for a homestead exemption. So these are some of the people who can file. If you fit in this category within any of the 3 or 4 things that I just mentioned, you could qualify for this exemption. Please go do so, because as my wife mentioned, you could save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Who wouldn't want to do that? All right, so that pretty much wraps up who can file. There are a few others that could file, so please go look this up, the information for your state that you live in, and also the counties or parish that you live in if you're in Louisiana. Let's get to some of the basic requirements for filing. And I have a couple of notes here that I'm going to look, you see me looking down. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Number one, sort of what I mentioned earlier, you must own the property. So you've got to have the deed to show that you are the property owner. The second thing is it has to be your primary residence. Again, goes back to something that I mentioned when we were talking about who can file. The other thing would be you must be a state resident. So if you're a resident of Mississippi or a resident of Texas or Florida or North Carolina, whichever state you're a resident of or in, you can file in that state. Okay. The next thing would be you must occupy the home by January 1st of the tax year that you're filing the exemption for.
Yeah, and so with that, we were not able to file for 2025 because we moved into our home over the summer. So we had to wait until this January 2026 in order to file for homestead exemption. But we knew leading up to this time that we were going to file when we could. So we went ahead and got that done because there's a timeline. For Mississippi, and I think for Texas too, the timeline is from January the 1st to April the 1st. So you have to file within that timeline or you're going to miss it and have to wait until that next year again. So now we're going to talk about how to file for a homestead exemption. So you have to go to your tax assessor's office in person in order to file. You can't do it online, especially not for your first time. And also, you're not automatically enrolled once you buy a house. This is something that you have to go file for. So that's one thing. The documents, you have to have a certain amount of documents. It just depends on your state and your county what's required. For us, we needed our deed, our IDs. We needed our tag numbers for proof of residency. So y'all, if y'all's vehicle isn't registered in the state that you are living in, don't go down to the tax assessor's office and try to file for a homestead exemption because you're not going to be able to get one. So make sure your vehicle is registered in that state. Another thing is we had to provide the full price of our home and also the down payment that we put down on our home. So those were a few things that I can remember just off the top of my head. But those things might be different than your county. So once again, check your state and your county's requirements. So also, if it's your first time applying, like I said, you have to apply in person at your tax assessor's office. But after that, it usually renews. You don't have to apply again. But just make sure you check your state once again. So that's pretty much it, y'all. It doesn't require taking a lot of documents, and it doesn't really take a lot of your time either to be able to go and apply for a homestead exemption.
And it's free.
Yes, and it's free. So think about it. It's free and you can save money. Come on now. Like, why
it's
not?
It's a no-brainer.
Yes. So now we're going to talk about some common mistakes to avoid. So missing the filing deadline. The deadline for Mississippi and I think Texas, like I mentioned before, is between January the 1st and April the 1st. If you go in there after April the 1st, like on April the 2nd or 3rd, you're going to miss it and you're going to have to wait until January of the next year in order to be able to apply. So you'll be paying those high taxes until you can apply again. So do not miss the deadline. Assuming it happens automatically. So that's talking about it does renew automatically, but that's talking about applying. You know, you have to apply after you buy your house. It's not an automatic thing. Not filing after purchasing a new home, we just mentioned that. And then not checking to see if you qualify for enhanced exemptions. So like my husband mentioned earlier, if you're 65 and older, a disabled veteran, or disabled at all, just you don't have to be a disabled veteran, you can possibly qualify for enhanced exemptions. So definitely go and see if you can qualify for that. Okay, y'all, so now to share our personal experience with filing for a homestead exemption. So y'all, to take y'all back to when we were purchasing our home. When we were purchasing our home and we were going through the paperwork and the closing process, y'all, to see how much property taxes that we were going to have to pay was a shocker. It was a shocker, definitely. So, y'all, so for 2025, because we said, we had to wait. We moved into our home during the summer, so we had to wait until January of 2026 to apply for a homestead exemption. But in 2025, y'all, we paid over $3,000 in property taxes. And to us, that might not be a lot to y'all, but to us, that is a lot, especially with the cost of living being so high and all of those things. That was a lot. Thank God we were still able to pay it, but it was a lot.
And so, I mean, excuse me. So if it's being paid through our escrow. So our monthly mortgage payment has the property taxes and our home insurance factored into it, which made our home monthly payment increase by a decent amount because of the amount of the taxes that she's talking about. I mean, she said over $3,000. I mean, it was north of $3,500. So a large amount of our mortgage payment, I mean, I say a large amount, but a hefty amount of our mortgage payment is going toward paying for these property taxes. And I'll let her finish telling you how the story ends.
Yeah, so, yeah, y'all. So we were shocked to see that amount. So we knew that we were going to file for a homestead exemption in January of 2026. And so to tell y'all how much, so we're going to tell y'all what we're basically going to be saving for 2026. So like my husband said, we paid $3,500 for 2025. Well, for 2026, the estimate is for us to pay less than $2,000. So it's like $1,900. That's the estimate right now. We don't have like a set in stone number, but that's the estimate. So y'all, that's going to save us a good amount of money just by going to file for homestead exemption. I mean, that, like we said, it's free. All we had to do was just present some documentation, and that was it. So it definitely benefited us, and we believe that anybody who goes and they qualify, they meet the qualifications, it will benefit them too. So that's why we wanted to share this information with y'all, because we believe it's valuable information and it's something that could be helpful, because y'all, the price of things is high. So if you can save any money, I mean, I think it's a good thing. You can buy some groceries, get some gas. I mean, let's not be paying taxes that we don't have to pay.
Right. And think about if they deny you for whatever reason, if it's not approved, what are you losing? Right. Absolutely nothing. You just go and continue paying what you've been paying for your property taxes. But if it's approved, you're going to be saving some money. As she just mentioned, I mean, what could you do with a few extra $100 or a few extra $1,000 or however much your property taxes are if they've been reduced by you filing a free exemption? Mm-hmm. So you guys don't waste time. Whatever day you watch this video, if Monday is the next day or the next business day, go ahead and go down to your tax assessor's office and get the proper documents you need to go ahead and get this thing filed. Well, actually, yeah, you're still within the window. Mm-hmm. If you're in Mississippi. Now, again, as we've mentioned, if you're in a different state, check the deadlines for your state, but you probably still would be within a window, I would think, because it's still early in the year. We're, still in February, you still should have time, whether your deadline is in, mid-March or whatever, you still should have some time, but check those deadlines in the areas you live in. All right, you guys, so that's it for today's video. We hope that this information has been informative for you. But before you go, we would like to know if you have taken advantage of this exemption already. So if you've filed for a homestead exemption and you've saved money, let us know in the comment section if you wouldn't mind dropping that. How much have you saved? And also, if you know someone who may benefit from this information, please share this video with them so that they can get in on this also. Let's not, keep this to ourselves. Get the information out so others could save. It's something free, as we've mentioned. So let's get it spread far and wide.
So may the Lord watch between us and thee. Until next time, bye. Well, first off, it's good to be back with you all for yet another video. But we have a question for y'all today. So, what was the question? Oh, it is good to be back with y'all to do another video. And my husband is going to let y'all know what this video is going to be about.
That's how that's going to go.
Do we need to be a little more? Yeah, something like that.